Good morning and welcome to the show. We are in Manhattan at Hy-Vee, and I've got the two Ks, double Ks, and we're cooking. It's almost kind of comical. Yeah. 2 Ks and C. Kevin and Karen, and we're cooking.
There you
Kevin,
go.
thanks for joining us on this.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Karen has got a recipe for us guys. We were kind of talking and laughing off camera a second ago because, you know, we would like to cook for our spouses or significant others on Valentine's Day. So, Karen, you're going to teach us a recipe that we could whip together.
Right.
It's restaurant quality.
Exactly. Wonderful.
And that Kevin and I could pull off.
You know, and that's so important because as a wife myself, I know how much it would mean to me to have my husband do that. So you guys are on the right track learning this recipe. This is a 2 Steppin Tenderloin. All right. It's a really simple recipe. So simple that we're going to let Kevin put it together.
That's right.
All right.
That's a good test, I guess, right?
Okay, so what we're going to do first is make an actual pesto. Pesto is a sauce, and it's usually a base of something like spinach or basil or some wonderful greens. So Kevin, just dump those right in the food processor. There you go. And if you didn't have a food processor at home, you could use a blender.
Okay.
Food processors are great. And then we're going to add to that a couple tablespoons of mozzarella, or I'm sorry, this is actually Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan cheese,
just dump that right in there.
And this could be, we could grate ourselves or just buy grated, kind of like.
Absolutely, you sure could.
Yeah.
And then these are toasted sliced almonds. And almonds are a wonderful addition. They give it a real nice little crunch and thickness to it. And I love to toast nuts when I use them like that because it adds so much more flavor.
Yeah.
Brings out lots of flavor.
And it's simple. I just opened up the bag, we sprinkled them on a cooking sheet.
Put them in the oven.
Throw them in the oven.
Yeah.
Remember to get them out.
Yes, that's a good thing. But you just put them in there for like 350 degrees, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. You watch them close, and they're wonderful. And then, Kevin, garlic. Got to have garlic with the beef, right?
That's right.
So we're going to put the garlic in there. That's just 1 clove of minced garlic.
Okay.
And then we can put just a little bit of salt. And I just like to say maybe a 2 or 3 finger pinch, okay? And that's kosher salt. Now stick that lid on there.
Okay.
There you go. Slide it over and turn that on.
All right.
You can see how it's really getting it nice and chopped.
And now we're ready
and then we're just going to add this right through the top.
That was simple enough. I mean, it's
very simple.
You know, what do you say, pesto, and maybe you watch some other cooking shows like I do, and you see people making pesto, and you go, man, that looks really, really good, but it may look
really
like it's really tough to do.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. So the pesto is done, and that's just going to meld, those flavors are going to meld together and be a really great topping for our steak. All right? We might use the spatula right there and just kind of push it down. We'll give it one more whirl.
And while we're doing this, I think most people know we've had Kevin on the show several times before. As we're closing out the last minute of the segment here, Kevin's the executive director of the Kansas Beef Council, and you guys do a lot of stuff for beef producers here in the state. This just being one example of getting out and really promoting the product.
That is right, and you know, for me personally, that we appreciate working with folks like Karen and kind of give us that kind of the background of how you have that really great meal and we can do it at home.
Right, the restaurant quality at home.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, as we wrap up this first portion of this cooking segment, we want to make sure that you know we browned our 2 tenderloins, 2 minutes on each side, and then through the pan in the oven. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to pull the tenderloins out, mix everything else together, and
make a great dish.
Make a great dish. You're watching Ag AM in Kansas. We'll see you in just a minute. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. Through the magic of television, we've cooked our tenderloins, and they are out of the oven. Yes. We took their temperature. We hooded them. Is that correct?
Tinted them.
Tinted them.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Either way.
For 5-10 minutes.
Right.
Beauty sleep, as Karen calls it, which I don't know. Those are tenderloins. I'm not for sure they need beauty sleep. But, so we have our next portion of our meal.
Right. I wanted to also add that I did test these up to temp, and they were about 145, which is a medium rare, and that was an awesome way to do that. And then, like you said, we gave them their beauty rest by tinting them and bringing those juices back in. So, very important step, and those are going to be great eating. So, okay, the next thing we're going to do, and Kevin's going to do this step for us too. This is a cup of chopped spinach. All right. Do you remember we put spinach? I'll help you out. We put spinach in the pesto. All right. Now we're stirring it into our brown rice, and I've already kind of cooked this brown rice. So it's nice and hot, and that's going to kind of wilt that spinach down just a little bit. Now, Kevin, if you'll add that is chopped cherries. All right, so that's just kind of another fun ingredient to put right into this. Gives it some nice color, some variation, and just a real pretty, kind of a little sweet note, if you will, to the recipe. And then just a tablespoon of that, just like that. That's that pesto we made.
Okay.
And that's going to really season this rice up nice.
Oh,
so I'll stir that, smell it.
yeah.
And let's talk about tenderloin, because there are times when people may look at that and go, gosh, that's a true quality piece of meat.
Right.
I don't want to mess it up at home.
Exactly.
But
little scared to cook it.
little scared to cook it at home, yeah.
Right. But you can see how easy this was, Brian, because we basically got our skillet good and hot. We pan seared the fronts of those so that it just holds those juices in really nice. And then the tenderloin, you know, it is the most tender cut in the whole beef line. So tenderloin is just one of those that you're going to have good luck with regardless. It's great on the grill, great in a skillet. You can see, like I said, we took a skillet, an oven-proof skillet, heated it, seared those good so it holds those juices in, put it into the oven where it got then we basically just roasted those till they were done. So you could also do them in a grill pan on top of your stove. You could do tenderloins in many ways. The reason I love this recipe is because with that pesto in the rice, and then what we're going to do is just put that on there. Wouldn't your wife or significant other be very impressed with this meal?
I'm impressed we pulled it off, guys.
I know.
Just put that right there. And then you can top that with a little more pesto. It's a great way to serve it. So again, you've got your whole meal, you've got your whole grains with that brown rice, you've got your fruit, you've got some vegetables, you've got your beef.
And it is, I mean, I think it is kind of nice, and we really appreciate working with Karen, because, you know, it is something, I think it is kind of intimidating, and you touched on this, but it is so easy. I mean,
it really was easy.
Right. And you know, we have here at Hy-Vee, we have the fresh case downstairs, so we're up here in the club room, but downstairs we've got a whole fresh case, and our cutters are there. They'll help people understand the cut that they're buying, how to cook it, what to cook it and put with it, and we really do a nice job down there of educating our customers.
Well, in the last 40 seconds that we've got before we finish up here, again, we want to make sure we temp everything.
Exactly.
Just for safety reasons, we want to make sure that everybody stays safe.
And Brian, if I could clarify on that, things like whole muscle cuts, you basically need to temp it up to whatever your eating style is. So these were up to 145, which is a medium rare, okay? And then when you tent them, that continues to rise just a little bit. But when it comes to ground beef, we always want to make sure that we go to at least 160 degrees. Safe and savory at 160. Right. That's our message, because it is a ground meat that we want to make sure we get the centers done.
Well, if you want any more of these recipes, you can go to the Kansas Beef website, which is kansasbeef.org.
Correct.
And you can find these recipes right here, and we're going to eat. We'll see you all later.